What's up, guys? Welcome back to the second, that's right, number dos, SMC podcast. We're here at Lake Toho, just finished up Rayburn, and we've got a little different panel today, a little slightly different. We have our boy, Tom Reddington, that's right. We have Tim Big Fish Frederick.
That's right.
And Billy got a bass. Now, Andrew's on his way, but he's late, so he'll be here in a minute. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk a little bit about Toho. We're going to talk a little bit about past tournaments. We got a couple tips coming down the pipe, so you don't want to get off this. We got some really good, and let me tell you something, sight fishing, spawning time of the year, this guy right here, the tip he's going to give you, it's gold. It's gold. I fished with him. It's unbelievable. It's going to be a lot of fun. You guys excited?
Yeah, man, looking forward to it.
Yeah. We're finally in some good weather. Don't you think, Billy?
Yeah. I love the hot weather.
Yes. Look at my sunglasses tan right now, dude. This is like, I actually saw this last night. Look, I'm going to scare y'all for a minute. That is bad, dude.
That is
it's
bad.
like a tattoo.
Yeah.
Somebody said the other day, they were like, what's wrong with your face? Yeah. I'm like, I fish a lot. So it's crazy. We just finished up Rayburn. First of the year. It was a pretty good event, I felt like, for Texas. I mean, it was good. A lot of fish caught. You know, I survived. I caught a big one. It was cool. It was cool. Tom did really good. He kicked everybody's butt. What did you finish? 7th?
8th, yeah.
8th?
Man, you my hero. I got the last check, so I'm tickled to death.
Man, that's awesome.
I'm good with it.
That's awesome. We all got checks. Except Billy because he didn't fish.
I had a great booth, though.
You did.
He
Booth
did.
was
did.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
We sold some rods.
Tell
sold some
everybody what we're
baits.
doing with the booth. Tell them because they want to know.
At the Expo Center, at every weigh-in, every day, we have the SMC
Thursday
booth.
through Sunday.
It's 10 by 15. It's huge.
Lots of
Can't
room.
miss it.
Yeah.
Can't miss it. Got lots of favorite rods, Guggen baits for
Yeah.
sale. So
SMC
and then
merch.
The guys will be hanging out, so you can come
Yeah.
by and see us.
Yeah, we had a good crowd. We had a lot of people come to the booth.
Looked good.
Yeah, it was cool, man. And we're all hanging out. A lot of the other anglers are going to be hanging out at the booth, too, so not just myself. We'll have Tim there. Tom will be hanging out a little bit. Latimer, just a whole bunch of people. So it's a great meeting place. So, again, at every FLW Tour stop this year, we're going to have a booth at the Expos Thursday through Sunday, Lakeside. Come hang out with us. And check your calendar. Get on FLWOutdoors.com. Figure out where the tournaments are going to be. And make a little road trip. Come out and hang out with us. It's a lot of fun. They got a lot of cool stuff going on. And also Marshall, before I forget about the Marshall program, tell them about the Marshall program, Tom.
Well, it's, what is it, $100?
Yep,
Do
$100.
It's basically like a 2-day guide trip. You get to ride around with the pros. You have a chance, a lucky winner wins a boat.
Yep.
Rate
Yeah,
your
that's
boat.
impressive.
But
And they
it's-
win money each tournament, too. Highest weight, you get the combined total of whatever your partner day 1 and partner day 2. They add that together. And whatever that total is, you have a chance to win up $2,500 first place.
So you get all your money back and then some.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
pretty
the
awesome.
for $100, I mean, you're going with guys like Scott and Tim in Florida. So if you've tournament fish down here, or if you're a high school fisherman, college fisherman, trying to get better on just fishing in general, or if you're trying to scout a lake, if you have a tournament here, say later in the year, if you get in the boat with these guys, probably have a pretty good idea of places where you can fish. And the neat thing is, hey, when you see the winner do well, you see what worked. What's really cool is tomorrow at 10 o'clock, these two don't have any fish. I've already got 20 pounds, surely. But these two probably don't have anything.
Wow, that's
But
Shirley.
these guys don't have it. Hey, the coolest thing is you get to see the progression. All of a sudden, it's like, well, this isn't working. I'm going to try this. Oh, this spot was good. Oh, they moved up here. And you see how they put it together. And when they have that 25, 30-pound bag, you're going to see not what worked, but all the things that didn't work. And that's truly where the learning comes in.
And you get to help out with social media too, because you've got an iPad, and Marshall gets to hang out. You've got an iPad, so you got something. You're not just sitting there like a bump on a log. You're actually engaged. You're taking photos. You're sending them to FLW. So your friends that are at home watching you, they know you're in the boat with me or Tim or Tom. They know that you're taking the pictures and you're posting them up, and it's pretty cool stuff. So check out the Marshall program. Again, get on FLW Outdoors. Check it out. We'll drop links down below in the video. And but we are here, Lake Toho. It is February. Lots of big things happen in February, wouldn't you say, Tim?
Man, I'm so looking forward to this. I mean, I really am. I don't know what I'm on. You know,
Yeah.
I had a lot of bites doing what I love to do, and I know what's coming. You know what I mean? So the anticipation's building with me right now. I'm not gonna.
Dude, can I make a deal with you right now? If you jack like 38 pounds on day one, can you give me like a scrap hole? Like just like say these pads over there, I'm not gonna hit them, dude. Just
What's a pad? Is that what you're doing? You fishing pads?
Well, whatever. That flat. Go over there, catch your 20, survive, go home, give your wife a kiss.
You know,
tell me thank you later. Can you do that? Because this guy's going to jack them up.
I hope you're right. You know, I feel optimistic. I really do. I don't know what's there.
Yeah.
I know there was plenty of males there.
Yeah.
And
Huh.
you know what comes next. So, you know, it could be a day of 15 pounds or it could be a day of 30. You know, so I'm looking forward to it. And that's kind of.
Yeah.
I didn't want to pull on a bunch of them in practice because if you catch a bunch of males, you kind of get discouraged.
Right.
And it gets in your head, or at least it does with me. So really, the unknown's better for me.
We've got a new moon coming up right now. Water temperatures in the state of Florida have been down in the 50s and 60s for the entire month. We haven't had any warm weather. It's been overcast conditions, windy. Just all the things you don't want. And now the sun's out, it's 75, 80 degrees, no wind, water temperatures are rising. Fish are starting to make a move. But I'm going to be honest with you, and I think you'll agree with this, guys, is that I made the comment yesterday that when you think you have them figured out, right? This is why I love tournament fishing. When you think that you know what bass are going to do, they throw a curveball on you. Because all week I've been going, oh, they're coming. They're coming. Every day we go out there, and these next 2 days, it's going to be just fish after fish moving up. And I'm not seeing it where I've been fishing.
Well, we've talked about it.
Yeah, and him and I were on the same lake yesterday, and we talked a couple times. And things are kind of going, in my opinion, the opposite way. And so I'm a little worried, at least where I was looking yesterday. Mm-hmm. And why is that? Why is this crazy? The fish should not be doing that. They should be coming at us, not paused or going away.
Yeah, I mean, when you start seeing fry and fry garters,
Yeah.
you're thinking, man, did I miss it?
Right.
Are they spawning deeper than I thought?
When did they
or
spawn
whatever
here?
the
Like
case was?
October?
I'm with you on that because we talked yesterday a couple times, and we're both going any minute now. Any minute now.
Yeah.
You know, because it was a beautiful day. It was calm. I only seen 2 or 3 decent females the whole day, and that's pretty disheartening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for a strong set. And here's the thing, guys. We're at Toho, we're Kissimmee Chain. There's lots of big fish, but there's lots of small males. Florida is known for small males and big females. That's just what it's known for. People come to Florida to catch big bass, but a lot of times you got to catch a lot of little ones to get that big one.
Correct.
And when you see those males moving up, you know it's going to happen. But man, it's all about finding those couple females because you can go out and find 100 males. They're going to weigh 10 pounds. To get that 17, 18, 19, 20, 25, you've got to have, like, your first 7 you catch, all of a sudden you're at 19. The second 7 you catch, you're at 24. The third 7 you catch, you're at 28. You know, that's how you build a bag in Florida, is by just keep chipping away at those females. And I didn't see them yesterday. I'm hoping I can find some tomorrow.
I think you will. I mean, there's not 170 boats out there running around. The pressure's kind of off of them today. I think they'll get comfortable and pull up.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm trying to talk.
Water
myself
levels are
into.
stable too, because I think the water was dropping a little bit, and that right there might have put those fish on hold. I started thinking about that today a
will.
little bit. So I don't know how much farther they're going to pull the water here on the chain,
Hopefully
or Toho
none.
especially.
It's pretty good right now.
Is it? Yeah. Hopefully they'll leave it at that. So, you know, it's going to be a good tournament. There's going to be lots of ways to catch them. I'm looking forward to it. Billy's going to be hanging out all week, doing a little media support, riding around, taking pictures, doing some video stuff, and it's going to be good. What are you thinking, Tom?
I think Florida fishing is a tale of haves and have-nots. And if you get around the females, like you said, you crush them, and you're going to see the 20, 25-pound bags.
Yeah.
And then the other of us, that I'm just seeing a lot less numbers. Normally in Florida, you can catch a lot of those males, and then you're just hoping to grind through that female. It seems like it's harder to just go catch a fish. I mean, there's specific areas that have them. There's a lot of dead water. There always is, but more so. And it's if you're grinding, like you said, if you grind through a few fish and you have 8, 10, 12 fish all day and they're all buck bass, I mean, you're not talking about a 10-pound limit. You're talking guys having 7-pound limits. But if you catch that one 8-pounder in there with it, then you have 14. You look like a hero.
Yeah,
so it's a little fluky in that. You can't necessarily pinpoint him. So I'm hoping for a big bite. That's what I'm going to need this week.
I think that's what everybody needs, is at least one big bite a day to keep them in the hunt. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we're going to take a little break right now. We're going to come right back, talk some more, get into some fishing tips, get into some big fish stories. We got lots of cool stuff coming your way. So, guys, thanks for hanging out this far. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. Guess who joined us? Andrew. He was running just a tad bit late. We had another meeting, but he's here hanging out. We were talking about Toho. We were talking about Rayburn. You had a good tournament at Rayburn as well. I think all of us here actually got a check. We got out of there. We got out of there with some money in our pocket, and it was cool. If you guys didn't get to see the whole Rayburn series, which I think was awesome, from the travel to the podcast we did, and then the tournament stuff, I think it was a great video series. So guys, check that out. We'll drop a link for the playlist or something down there below. Brandon, be sure to do that. Drop something in there for everybody, okay? Because they might want to see it. But we're here at Toho. We're talking about the conditions, about it being just kind of squirrely, like the fish aren't doing what we kind of thought they would do in the amount of time.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think we all kind of run under the assumption that it was just going to be this enormous slugfest, and maybe it turns into that because this off day is really hot. It's humid. It's a really warm day. Mm-hmm. That water temp's going to warm up a lot, and I think you're going to see some things change. In tournament fishing anyway, you always see things change. There's always that variable of change. Guys could have the worst practice they've ever had and then come out and catch 25 pounds tomorrow. I mean, for me personally, my biggest fish I caught all week was a 2.5 pounder.
Right.
So and I talked to guys that caught 6s, 7s, 8s, 9 pounders, and I'm like, golly, I'm just definitely not catching them. Like, it's just a bad deal. So, I mean, it's just a weird place right now. Like, you just don't really know where the fish are and what they're going to do.
It is, and I tell you, and I know there's a lot of people that watch MLF, and this do not. I'm careful by saying this because this isn't a negative thing to MLF, but the way that they're doing their game, they're playing their game is obviously different than what we're doing because they're catching fish and squirrel fish, and that's stressful. And what we're doing is stressful because we're going to figure out how to find the big ones. You know what I mean? Like absolutely. It's a different mindset. It's hard because we can find a lot of little 1.5, 2 pounders, sub 2s, but trying to find those big ones right now, my head hurts. So when I get done with practice every day, I mean, what I'm talking about, guys, at tournament fish, it's all about trying to find those key big fish bites.
The big variable in Florida has always been that big bite, one big bite. You could have a 17-pound bag and have an 8-pounder.
Right.
And that's just the crazy thing about Florida. And, like I could go out there and get a big bite every day from now on.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Or Tim could. Tim could go out there and catch 30 pounds one day and the next day catch 8.
Yep.
And that's the reality of Florida.
It's hard to figure out how to find the big fish. That's where I was getting to my point. It's hard right now to figure out what those big fish are doing. I think Tim's on something a little special. I look forward to him, catching some fish this week. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to end up playing out totally. But speaking of big fish, well, actually, let's back up just a hair. I got ahead of myself just a little bit. We're talking about Toho. We're talking about ways to win, talking about catching fish and making decisions on how to find them. Who do you think? Now, obviously, we all think that we're going to do. I don't think I'm going to do that great. I'm hoping I can survive this one. So, I'm sorry, guys. I'll go ahead and apologize. But who do you think is going to win? We'll start with Andrew. Who do you think? I mean, based on the current conditions, what do you think?
I think Frederick goes for his second win in Florida in a row. I really do. I mean, it sets up. I know he likes to dab that stick worm around pads, and I think that's going to be a really strong pattern this week. And he's one of the best at it. He proved it last year at Okeechobee, and I just think this tournament sets up well for a guy like Frederick.
Man, I hope you're right. I mean, I feel optimistic. Winning, I'm not sure because I don't know what I'm on. I just know I'm around them.
Right. Well, that's a good thing. What do you think, Billy?
I'm going with Tim Frederick too. I mean, here's the deal. The guy, I mean,
wow.
I've seen him do it, man. Wow. And any guy that can drag a worm across the bottom and he knows when he's in the bed and versus not being in a bed, that's amazing. I just can't comprehend that. So I'm with you, bro.
I appreciate you.
I like it. Obviously, if I said Tim, everybody would be like, "Come on, get creative here." Obviously, Tim, I think is a shoe-in to do well here. It's gonna obviously it takes a lot of decisions out there on the water to get right, but guys like Brian Schmidt.
I was gonna say
Were you really?
Yeah.
Because the fish aren't moving as fast as I kind of thought they would. Right? They're starting to, but they're in between somewhere. And is that a moving bait bite? Is that a chatterbait bite? Is that something sneaky and that's going on? I'm gonna throw out another one, and another possible winner, Jim Moya.
Oh,
crazy, right? Nobody expected that one, right? Came out of nowhere, left field. But I had some fish out in the middle of the lake, a couple weeks ago before cutoff, and I've gone out there and checked them a few times. And that's the only place I keep seeing him every day. I keep going out, and he's always around that little area. And I've never seen anybody practice that long on a little area, try to dissect it.
He's been offshore this whole time, I think.
And so he's figured something out there. There's fish out there that are hard to get the bite. It's a timing issue. It's a bait. It's a lure issue. There's some things like that you got to pay attention to. I look for him to catch something crazy.
Yeah, and he could, especially if he's one of the few boats doing it.
Yeah.
If hypothetically, if they start pulling water again, that offshore bite can go off.
Right.
And I think he already knows where to go. He's spent all his time off there, so I think that's a good call on that.
Yeah.
But I still think it's going to be one. I still think it's going to be one shallow.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about Tim. And when you talk about his expertise, and I've fished with Tim several times. We've done several shows around the Harris Chain area, but he is the only. And I've tried to do it. I've stood right next to him and watched him. I've had him explain it to me. I've done it right where he's doing it, and it's where he throws his worm out on a weight, and he drags it along the bottom, and he can literally feel his worm go into a bed and out of the bed based on that little bit of a depression. And I can't feel it. I don't know what I'm feeling for yet, but he knows it, and then he'll keep making repetitive casts at that same little depression in the middle of nowhere. And after 4 or 5 casts, something bites, and he ends up catching a big fish. And that's something special that none of us here can do except this guy right here. And so that's something that you need to be proud of, because that's a technique that is just, you can't learn that. I'm telling you, can go out, guys, and try it tomorrow, and you're not going to figure it out. I'm just telling you. I don't know how he does it, but he's like a human panoptic. He's like, ooh, oh, there's a bed. None there, none there, none there. Ooh, there's a bed. So what do you think, Tom? Or no, actually, what do you think? Who do you think is going to win if it's not you?
Well,
Just not you.
Well, I'm hoping it's me. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to throw a couple names in there that probably you don't hear in there a lot. But there's 34 rookies in this deal. Mm-hmm. There's a kid named Tyler Walcott. Mm-hmm. That he is a hammer here. He fishes with Garrett Rockamore all the time.
That's right. Yep.
I look for him to do well. I mean, he knows the lake. He knows the conditions. And I know, and he's due, but I've been practicing and staying with him. Actually, both these guys, and I know y'all, but Daryl Davis has got a pretty strong bite, and so is Johnny McCombs. So you put Johnny around shallow fish, Johnny's dangerous too.
Man.
Problem is, he's around some of mine, and that makes me a little nervous.
Oh, boy.
But, I know that's not the, I feel like Daryl's due. He's from around here, and he's doing the right things right now. I do know that, and he's been getting some good bites. So, and he found a big one on bed yesterday. He thinks it's going to be there tomorrow morning. I mean, you start off with a 9 or 10. That's a pretty good day.
Yeah.
So
exactly. They're never there. I have a new rule. I didn't implement it this week because I'm scared to implement it. But my new rule needs to be, when I find a big female in practice,
Just catch it.
just go ahead and catch it, because it's never there.
Yeah,
or if it is there, it won't bite, and I waste like 3 hours of my morning like stressed out about it. I just catch it. I'm gonna take a picture, post it on Instagram, and show you. Look, there you go. Bam. How about that?
We'll appreciate that if you start doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. In Florida, like, I've gone to Okeechobee, Harris Chain, Toho, all over these lakes, and I have never had big fish stay from Tuesday to Thursday, ever. Like, I've never had one stay.
All right, real quick, we're about to take a break. Who's your pick for a win?
Yeah, Schmidt was the one that came to my mind too, just because sometimes the throwers. But I'll throw this out. I don't know it's gonna be a flipper bite, but it's like a horse race, and you get the sprinters that break early, that are the sight fishermen, and they kind of limp to the finish line. Can they hang on? And then you get Steady Eddie. Last year was Stacy King. He caught, Ramey caught a 10-pounder dragon. Stacy King was on shell beds and pads and just worming them. Guy who's in the field right now, who's won here before in Texas or Florida before, and can just grind with the best of them. Somebody like Larry Nixon, dragging a worm.
Daryl Robertson.
Daryl Robertson. But I mean,
Yeah.
so the general could get out there and get on a shell bed and one pad field and sit there and literally catch every single fish in that creek. I mean, I've sat next to him before here, power pole down. It is amazing. It's like a sundial, and they go around, moves the sticks 10 feet, power poles again.
The old school way. That's the old school. We used to do it like that. Just
You don't
get out
catch
there.
you don't catch 30, then 25 and limp. I mean, they just catch 20, 20, 20.
That's right. That's good stuff. All right, guys, so we're going to take another little quick final break. We're going to be back. We've got some good tips coming your way. Sight fishing tips from this man, shallow water fishing tips, top water tips. So this is the meat of it coming. So thanks for watching. We'll be right back. All right, we're back for the final little segment here. This is what you've been waiting for. We've talked about the tournament. We've talked about who might win. We've talked a lot of good stuff. Now we're going to jump into some really good tips, right? Okay. Tips are going to help you catch more fish. We're going to talk about sight fishing tips. We're going to talk about some top water tips. And I'm going to start over here with Tom. Tom, throw out a really good sight fishing tip and let the viewers know what you like to do on that.
Well, you've seen it before. My best sight fishing tip is the spawning nub, I call it. And what happens sight fishing a lot of times, if this is a lizard or something or an action craw,
right,
the fish comes on the bed and they pick up all these appendages and carry it off. You watch them, if it's a white or chartreuse, they don't have it, right? So the hook's down here, they don't have the bait. What I'll do is I'll take a 10 or 12 inch power worm. If my hook's this long, I just use the first section of the worm. So it's basically a 3-inch section of worm with a 5/0 hook. It's exactly the length of the hook. Now they have picked up the hook sometimes.
Right.
Basically that nub right there, all it is just the bait. If they pick it up, they got to get the hook. I'll peg a 3/8 ounce sinker on it. It falls directly into the bed. There's none of this falling and missing the bed. You peg it right there, pitch it right to it, so it's really accurate. And when they finally pick up the bait, they got it. It looks like nothing, and sometimes you need the tail to like get them stirred up. They need a little more action. But once if they're rounded, and that little game of picking up, like lizards are the worst. They love to play with them. Mm-hmm. Man, that nub, catch it. You've seen it before.
I know. We did it at Lake Fork. We did it at Lake Fork, and he was pitching the little nub. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep. What about you, Tim?
Man, I don't really have a special bait that I use. I use just little crawls and stuff like that. But I think the key for me is location of your initial cast. I think it's important to me, and you can't always do it. Just depends on where the bed is. But I feel like you need to cast 4 or 5 feet past the bed. And literally, and you've seen it work, you drag it, don't hop it, drag it into the bed, let it sit there, watch the fish. I mean, the fish will tell you if it's going to eat or not, and then you can pop it or shake it. We call it trembling. You know, when you get it where you want it, you can sit there and tremble it, they eat it, and then it's good. But I feel like they react better to a bait that's dragging. I mean, even if you got to kind of just slow reel it with a heavy lead to go straight across, don't even stop it.
Right.
Get it fired up.
Yeah.
Make one pitch in there, drag it in there. Bam.
No, he's right on that. That was something I did pick up from him. I've caught a few fish by dragging it just through the bed instead of even hopping it, just dragging, letting that line get down. And instead of your line being up at an angle coming up out of the bed, laying your line down low. So your line, this is what Tim showed me, your fluorocarbon would sink and lay on the bottom, and then you drag the bait through the bed. If this is the bed, your bait goes through the bed and your line's on the bottom too, so the fish doesn't have that
The
up
line
of
won't
the
hit
line.
the fish either.
Right. And it's just a real natural approach. A lot of times it gets that fish, fired up for sure.
And
So-
I know you got some. Let's see what you got.
Well, I tell you one of the ways that I catch a lot of the female bass, and because those are the hardest ones, is I call it hopping in their mouth. Billy's seen me do it. You've seen me do it when we fished together. Even you, Tom, when we did it. It's called hopping in their mouth. And what I like to do is I'll take a bait that has some swimming appendages, like the Guggen bait bandito bug. Okay, I'll put it on, say, 20-pound fluorocarbon. I'll take a 1/2 ounce weight, not pegged. Tom talked about pegging it. I'm not pegging it for this reason. It's on a slip bullet weight, 1/2 ounce, 5/16 or 3/8 if I need to. But I want something a little heavier, okay? Put that bandito bug on, and when that fish won't bite, that female's stubborn, she's sitting there on the bed, you can almost kind of bring the bait by her every single time. She's not even moving at this point. She's just sitting there uninterested. I'll throw, if this is the fish, I'll throw my bait past it, bring it up, and it's all about the angle, okay? I want to come across the face of the fish, not hit her, in front of her, right here, and I'll get my bait about in this position, and I'll let it sit, and I'll get everything steady, and I'll just give the rod one sharp hop, and it'll jump the bait in the air. What happens is that weight will fall fast, and the bandito bug will flutter down behind it, right in front of that fish's mouth, and a lot of times that's when that fish, it's a reaction, kind of
reaction bite,
like a
yep.
cat on
Grabs
a
it
ball.
before she realizes.
Yeah, it's a cat grabbing the ball, and that fish will and grab it, and bam, you set the hook, and you got the female. And that's how I've caught I would say over half of the females that I've ever caught in my life, I've caught it by hopping it in their mouth, and that is a way that I do it a lot. I'll always go first natural, dragging it through, like Tim talked about, and just trying to get the fish to naturally react. But when it gets to that mode of it just won't move and it's just stubborn, that's when I go to hopping it. And again, it's all about the angle. It's all about not too hard, not having it pegged, and it works. It works real good.
Yeah. Well, the same thing that you're saying when the fish gets stubborn.
Yeah.
Be open to more baits.
Right.
I mean, I'll usually have 3 rods on the deck. You know,
That's a good,
maybe
very good point. Yeah.
Maybe even a drop shot. I mean, I've done that before, and it just gets the worm up in front of her mouth.
Right.
You know, and so just different baits. You know, sometimes it's a worm. Sometimes I'll take a Cinco and I'll cut it in half and just use a piece of it, kind of like Tom's talking about, so there's not so much excess, you know, up here with just a tail. But so other baits. Sometimes you may throw a different color in there, and all of a sudden it's like bam.
Yeah.
You know, and you've been messing with the fish for 5 minutes. You know, so.
Well,
That's good.
well, my tip is actually a kind of a combination of what y'all are talking about. Now, I agree with Scott where it's really hopping it into their mouth. I've done that for years, and I think that's a very effective way of getting them to eat. But actually, and it's actually another thing that Tom talked about too, is the knob of worm. I actually take like a nub of worm, nub. I'm from Texas, so we say all different kinds of enunciations of words. But what I do is I take a really small, like, finesse worm, okay? Like, it doesn't matter what kind it is, it just a very small one. And I'll cut it into about 2.5 inches long. And I'll put a 5/0 hook in it, and where the whole worm is taken up by it, but I'll actually put it on a drop shot and put it about 4 inches up off the bottom. And those fish that are really weird and really finicky, you can pitch that thing in there and you'll catch them. And because it keeps that bait at the fish's mouth already, so you don't have to worry about them actually going down to it. It keeps it level with them, so you can shake it right in front of their nose. And if they even nip it, they're hooked. I mean, you got them. And that's a way to really quickly catch fish, period. Males, females, whatever it may be. I mean, you catch them in 2 casts. And that's something I've done for a long time. And it's tiny. And it's not even like the size.
I gotta do the nub more. I'm gonna be pitching, flipping, drop shutting nubs.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's a good deal. It works.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like how it'll fall straight down. It won't glide
Yeah.
somewhere else. But sometimes that glide gets a reaction by
It does. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing too with sight fishing is being able to read the fish. Getting an understanding of what that fish is doing when you move the bait, when you pitch the bait, all these different things will tell you in a nutshell what mood that fish is in. And watch the fins. When you see the fins doing this and you see their fins here, that means they're getting mad. That means they want to go after it, but they're kind of holding themselves back. You know what I mean?
After they move them
Yeah.
fins.
When they start doing that.
Yeah, you speaking of that, but probably one of the most important things that we didn't mention was having good sunglasses.
Absolutely.
And polarized sunglasses, it is an absolute necessity to have good sunglasses. Whether you, like Strike King makes some really inexpensive sunglasses that anybody can afford, that $39 to $59 range, but Costa makes some excellent glass sunglasses that a lot of the higher level professionals use. And I can go ahead and tell you that if you don't have a good pair of sunglasses, you're 10 steps behind.
Yeah.
Color of lens, I'm looking at Tim's right now. These are silver mirror, which is like a amber base. And Tim's got that sunrise.
He's got sunrise silver.
Sunrise silver. And so it's a lighter, it's like yellow inside.
Yeah.
And so those will make those whites pop a little
Yeah,
bit better.
and it makes it really bright whenever it's cloudy or overcast conditions, because you rarely ever have that perfect condition where it's sunny all day long.
Yeah.
I wear them all day. I know
I do too.
everybody says they're great for low light, which they are.
They are,
But
absolutely.
once your eyes adjust to them, I don't change them.
Yeah.
I think they're probably the best colored lens for sight fishing, bar none.
That silver mirror actually like cuts a lot of the glare off anyway, regardless if you're in high sun or cloudy conditions. And that yellow makes, like what Scott's saying, actually makes it pop more and more effectively. So
I bet you if you look about all the pros boats tomorrow,
95%, I'd say.
90% will be this color probably.
But 95 will be Costas.
Yeah.
Well, they'll be coasters, but
Yeah.
I think. Well, let me
color lens.
change that. Yeah,
probably
anybody
be-
who's sight fishing at all will have this color.
Yeah. Can I borrow those actually?
I got a couple.
I have this color right here, but I kind of like yours now.
I got
All right.
I got a spare pair.
All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you guys for joining us again, Tim.
Power
Thank you
poles.
for
Sorry, I was
hanging
late.
out.
Power
Power poles
poles,
for sight fishing.
Bonus tip of the day right there.
Crazy. I mean, power poles have won me more tournaments than I can.
It's a must.
I'm not even worthy.
If you're a tournament angler, look, I'm just breaking it down like this. This is for power pole. If you're a tournament angler, and you're wanting to make checks, and you're wanting to win tournaments, just get power poles. They will pay for themselves, guaranteed, 100%, without a doubt. It's a non-expense at that point. If you're going to fish
Absolutely.
tournaments, get power poles. They pay for themselves. You got to have them.
Yeah.
But thanks for hanging out, guys.
Yep.
Tom, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Billy, we'll hopefully see you guys this week, starting tomorrow through Sunday, meet and greets from 2 or 3.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah, so we'll be hanging out there, the booth. So thanks, guys. We're
See you
gone.
at the expo.
We're gone.
Come on out and see us.
We got to go. We got to
Right.
go get ready. I got to get some glasses, dude. We'll see you.